I call the honourable member for Braddon.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Well, it's pleasing to hear that some areas of the country have received support through this program, but this program clearly demonstrates, and I think subsequently the election result in Tasmania clearly demonstrates, that the Abbott-Turnbull government has given up on my state of Tasmania. Out of a total of 229 projects over 3 rounds, Tasmania received funding for 8 projects. Out of $632 million expended so far, Tasmania received $17 million. $17 million. And I know there are a number of projects that went through Stronger Regions funding many times and yet did not get funded. In round 1, I have always welcomed the funding of the Devonport City Council Living City project, which received $10 million because I was an alderman on the council from the very beginning of that inception. And so it was very pleasing that that project received $10 million, but it was only 1 out of 3 projects in Tasmania to get funding. In round 2, my electorate received nothing. There were 3 projects in Tasmania that received $767,000. Out of $293 million. In round 3, it was welcoming to have the Circular Head Community Wellbeing Centre funded. But the only reason that was funded, in my opinion, is that in the lead up to the federal election, federal Labor committed funding of the $4 million for that project, with a coalition and the then Liberal member at the time coming in behind us to fund it. And that project is really important. It's important infrastructure for a regional and quite remote community that had not had any assets, with its pool having to close down. But having said that, there's been nothing allocated for the electorates of Franklin or Denison. So how many electorates did miss out? How many of those MPs on the other side were really fighting for their electorates? And I have to say that's an incredibly disappointing result for Tasmania, and particularly when you think about post the global financial crisis, where it hit Tasmania late, it hit Tasmania hard, and in the aftermath, councils were doing all they could to ramp up projects, to get them ready for funding, to drive their economy, to drive jobs in their economy, and this is all we got. I think it's absolutely deplorable. When you've got a government that freezes the indexation on the financial assistance grants for councils, which particularly hit Tasmania hard, when you've got a population of 500,000 and 29 councils, you have to think, how serious is this government in looking after regional Tasmania? I have to question it. It's absolutely deplorable. But there was one project that went through the Stronger Regions funding 3 times. Every round they put in an application, and that was the Burnie Tennis Centre. The Burnie Tennis Club hosts the Burnie International every year, and they needed $400,000 from the federal government to help resealing their tennis court so they could keep the Burnie International Tennis Tournament in the city. Now, for a small city that had some huge job losses with Caterpillar moving some of its manufacturing overseas, it was really important that that $1 million of economic activity in that city was retained through this funding. And the funding received support from the state government, from the Burnie City Council. It received funding from Tennis Australia, and yet the federal member at the time could not even bring himself to support the project. And he said it is not the federal government's responsibility to fund a council-owned asset. I find that absolutely ridiculous. This project went through Stronger Regions 3 times. And if you think about all the projects in Stronger Regions that were funded, 74% of those were council-owned assets. So we've had in Tasmania previous members who are no longer in this place, not really fighting for their regional communities through a program that is there for regional communities. Well, they weren't, because the results speak for themselves. It's absolutely deplorable. So what is going to happen now? It's good to see that Stronger Regions expended a couple of $1 million or so, well, $14 million, in my electorate so far. But now the program's changing, so now we're not seeing the cities get the funding. But then we've got Hobart, and I know the member for Denison will be pushing for funding in for the city of Hobart, which is now included in the next iteration of this program. And I know people in my electorate won't be too happy about that. But nevertheless, hopefully it's all based on merit, and hopefully we'll see more funding come to regional communities in Tasmania.
Thank you.